Southern Miss Radio. It's time for News You Need. News You Need is a look at current events and how they affect the college community and beyond. And now here's the host of News You Need, Dr. Ed Simpson.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting edition of News You Need. This is the show where we talk to the best human beings in the whole world, which is our USM students, which is awesome. We have another great group with us today. So to get going, why don't we kind of introduce ourselves, maybe tell us what year you're in, your major, maybe your hometown, and what student group, if any, you're affiliated with.
Okay, well, hello. My name is McKinney. My major is Architectural Engineering Technology, and I'm a sophomore at USM from Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, very cool. And I want to talk about architectural engineering
Technology.
and technology. I want to talk about that just for a minute.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Lily Burgard. I'm a co-producer for News You Need. I'm a sophomore digital journalism major with a media and entertainment arts minor and a certificate in apparel construction and design.
Yep.
And
And you design dorm rooms on the side.
Supposed to.
Yeah.
Soon to be volunteering to write for the Prince.
Oh, excellent. Love that.
Hi, my name is Mikola Abe. I'm an English major in my sophomore year. My goal is to be a writer and to publish a book, but that's a pretty big goal.
Yeah, excellent. What kind of writing do you like to do?
I like to do personal essays. I like stuff that makes people laugh, things
Okay.
like that. And
Okay.
I like dabble in a little poetry here and there.
Okay, well, very cool. Okay. Now, are you a member of a student group at all, or are you affiliated or officer?
Not
That's
at
okay.
all.
That's okay. So, you are with SGA?
Yes, I'm with SGA, Undersecretary of Internal Affairs. Yes, sir.
Okay, and what does that position do? What does the undersecretary for internal affairs do?
So all of the secretary kind of deals with communication, and I specifically, well, I help with tabling when that's needed, and I also send emails to executive officers and things so that they can give their feedback or maybe like progress from meetings and things like that. So for example, the senators, I may send them an email and be like, hey, give us some updates on, what your meeting was about. And it's just, a chain of communication.
Okay,
between
interesting.
us.
All right. Can you reveal anything SGA is working on that's cool that we might care about?
Well, I mean, we did add some cameras behind Wilbur, I believe.
I heard that. Yeah, I think the student media does a story on that. I think that's great. And that's for
Yeah.
safety.
Of course,
Yeah.
yes. And yesterday we actually had soda with senators, so any legislation that students wanted approved, or we they had like an open table for the senators to kind of communicate, receive communication on
Sure,
that and fill
sure.
out
Yeah, you fill a
QR
questionnaire
code.
on what's
Yeah,
going on.
questionnaire.
Yeah, so that's
Yes,
great.
sir.
No, that's great. Okay, Lily, tell me about SM2. So you're working on our show, which is awesome. We had our
Yes.
live event on Monday.
That went really well.
It really did.
It was really interesting.
That was super fun. And but now you're going to start working for the Prince too?
Yeah, I just got into digital journalism last semester, and I wasn't super involved with SM2. It was like a godsend that I got this job. It was awesome. And then I went to the open house the other night.
Yeah.
And they were Mr. Wade, my media writing teacher, had said that we could get extra credit for writing for the Prince, but I also just wanted to do it. So I filled out the volunteer form, and I should be writing for him soon. I'm super excited.
Love that. Yeah, love that. Yeah, so there you go. So Southern Miss, so SM2, this is weird, Southern Miss Student Media. So SM, so it's SM squared. But we pronounce, so we pronounce it as SM2. Now, I will say, if you have to explain a logo, it's probably not good. So
But it
maybe
makes
we need to.
sense. It does
It makes sense if you hand out the booklet, but I'm
But if
not
you don't,
sure
it's
that
gone.
we. But anyway, I've raised that point. Nobody listens to me. That's what we do. Okay, so what are our students talking about? What is news to our students right now? What's happening? What's big? What's going on? What are we chatting about?
The proposed ceasefire between Gaza and Israel.
Yeah, so that's kind of dominating all the headlines now, right? So have you guys heard about
the
this?
immediate violation of the ceasefire
by
within an
Israel.
hour. By
Really?
Israel.
I didn't catch
Yeah.
that. There's
Yes.
already been a
Yeah.
violation?
They like within 2 hours of talks of a ceasefire, Israel had another drone strike on Gaza.
Well, we do know that, yeah.
But in the news and in the headlines, you won't see that and that they've broken this ceasefire. All you see is headlines that are saying that the Israeli people and the Palestinian people are celebrating a ceasefire and that there's joy, but that's not the reality of what's happening.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Not fully,
Yeah,
not
you're-
fully, unfortunately.
Okay, well, okay. I think there might be a little bit of timing issue. So definitely, and a lot of it, this did raise a lot of eyebrows with folks, is that Israel launched a major strike, killing several people right before the deadline of when the ceasefire was supposed to hit, and they were actually celebrating. Folks were celebrating as the bombs were falling. So that is kind of a bizarre image for this whole thing, and maybe
this is not
perhaps
the
a
first
fitting,
time
No.
that they've
perhaps a
broken
fitting
ceasefire.
image. So jump in here. What are you thinking?
Honestly, well, politically, I don't really get into those things, but I've definitely seen things on that, and along with Banned Books Week, and students have been talking about that as well.
Oh, interesting. Banned Books Week. Okay, so now I will say that has not come up in my circle, other than a very few mentions of folks who are picking out their books to read for Banned Book Week. Is that this week or next week?
I'm
Do you-
not
anybody know?
sure.
I
I
honestly
thought
have
it
no
was
idea.
this week.
Okay, interesting. So I got to look that up. So what are we thinking about banned books?
I think the prospect of banning reading material simply because you disagree with the contents within and contents that reflect the message about the wrongdoings of people in power. There's just a little bit of irony in that.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's really interesting. So they have been banning books for a long, long, long time.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. What do you mean by banning books? So more recently, in the last 3 or 4 years, what local libraries have been doing is not banning them as much as moving them. So someone will, although they have banned some. So what happens is somebody will complain, and they'll take this book, say, out of this section, and they'll wrap it up in brown paper, and they'll put it in another section, and they'll say, well, we still have the book. So do we buy that as, no, we're not. Lily shaking her head.
It's still censorship.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's not outright banned, it's still censored and they try to keep it from the public. What I think is really interesting is, like, these books are banned, say, like, 1984.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you're going to ban that, if you don't want people to read it because it hits too close to home, then you are admitting that you're Big Brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you're like, oh, I'm scared that this is going to
Yeah.
give people ideas, you are reading it as a fascist. You are sitting there like,
Yeah,
no.
and I know 1984 does Animal Farm and those kind of things. They come up occasionally, but really in the last 15, 20 years, it's been more about LGBTQ
yes.
stuff.
Especially in schools.
Especially in schools, and especially in public libraries too.
Yeah.
So that does seem to be an ongoing thing. How are we feeling about that?
I honestly don't think it's fair. Like, whether you're for it or not, I just don't think it's just not fair. Like, no one should be, shunned for any of their beliefs and anything like that, especially for a book.
Yeah. It goes to this whole idea of disappearing people right now. So we may pick up with that on the other side of the break.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri.
and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Read. They had.
Okay, we are back, and as usual, we just talked right through the break. So one of the things that we were mentioning is that there were two relatively, well, one was much more high profile than the other, but we did have two vigils in the last 2 weeks. One was for Charlie Kirk, and the other one was for Trey Reed, who was the young man found dead, hanging from a tree at Delta State College. And so there were the students are still processing, I think, both these memorials and probably both of these deaths. So how are we doing? How are our students figuring this out? And you had a thought about the memorials themselves?
Oh, I think a lot of people at Trey Reed's memorial were uncomfortable with the prospect of having armed cops and like officers surrounding.
Oh, interesting.
The vigil, a vigil where we were all just standing around with candles. We were no threat to anyone, nobody there. There was no potentiality of anything.
So why have the police there at all?
And it was a large police presence.
It was
I was
it
there
was
as well. It was a
very
line
large.
of police presence
Really?
across the whole, like in front of the.
Yes.
We went to the field in front of the library. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
In the whole, like from the fountain to the library was like
Yeah.
armed cops in a line. Yeah,
And
it was
that's what-
really, it was aggressive.
And it
I
was
guess
a
I haven't
small
even.
vigil.
I have. Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't even seen. I think student media did do a story on that. I don't recall the line of cops.
No,
When
I
we-
mean I'm sure that wasn't.
Yeah, when me and a friend first showed up, that's literally the first thing I pointed out. I was like, why are there police on both sides of the field? I was very
I guess that's how everybody there felt, because I heard
Yeah.
everybody talking about it.
It's really interesting. It'd be great to hear from the cops and say, hey, what was the thinking here? And then so that's juxtaposed to
The vigil for Charlie Kirk.
which was, I mean, it was very, from what I could tell from the images, I wasn't there. There was quite a few people there. Were there cops there as well? Do you know?
I wasn't
no
there.
I wasn't there either.
Yeah.
I have no
So we
idea.
don't know. We can't speak firsthand
Yeah,
on
we would
that.
have to get a quote on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, again, just from the images, I didn't see any police, but I didn't see any images of police from the other vigil either. But it is interesting, and it would be interesting to know whether the police treated them equally.
It really is juxtaposed though, because the Charlie Kirk memorial, from what I've seen the pictures, it has like a kind of air of formality to it. And the Trey Reed vigil, we were in the mud outside of the Cook Library.
Very organic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also a student organization put that on. I don't know if the university put on the Charlie Kirk Memorial. but-
My
The
understanding
Turning
is the
Point
Turning Point
USA
chapter. And
Which is
apparently
okay.
we do have a chapter.
We do.
And I do know that we've approached them, I think, several times to be on the show. I don't think
They have
they've
declined
agreed
to
yet to come on the
Oh.
show. But we'd love to have them on the show. Yeah, so that's interesting. And I know our students are still processing so many things.
And it's hard to process Trey Reed's death when so much is still unsure, because the second autopsy has not been released to the public, the one that was ordered by the family.
Yeah.
There was a lot of speculation. There was a huge Instagram post that's still being posted today, being like, second autopsy found that Trey Reed was actually murdered. And his sister was posting like, please don't repost that, guys, because that's just
We
spreading
don't know.
misinformation.
We just don't know
yeah.
yet. Yeah. So this
And his
is,
sister goes here. She was at the vigil.
oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Well, I know the family certainly has questions. Well, yeah, yeah. So our students are having to deal with all kinds of things going on in the world, going on in Mississippi. Is there anything else that our students are chatting about? I got some headlines I can throw at you here.
Throw some headlines at us.
Throw some headlines. Okay, here, let me throw it. I'm interested in your thoughts on this. Okay, so a couple of headlines. One is from Inside Higher Education, and then I'll give you the background on this. So now here's the way I read the news, and I will ask you guys how you pick up the news. So I go to I watch CNN, MSNBC, and Fox for about 40 minutes or so every morning, just flipping. Then I will read the New York Times. Then I will read like things like Inside Higher Ed, which is just a higher ed website. I'll go to chronicle.com, which is another higher ed website. And then I'll go to Mississippi Today. You guys are aware of Mississippi Today? If you're not, you should Google it, pick it up. It's the best nonprofit news operation. Actually, I would argue in the country, but most people would say in the South. They won a Pulitzer Prize a year and a half ago, so they're doing great work. We have a lot of our graduates up there, actually. And then I'll try to stay up with everything our student media is doing and everything our Roy Howard Community Journalism Center is doing. So that takes me about an hour every day. I don't expect you guys to do that. But I do think it's important. I'm going to ask you how you get your news here in just a second. But let me throw this headline at you. So Inside Higher Ed, MIT rejects proposed federal compact. So you may not have heard about this. So the Trump administration last week or 2 weeks ago put out what they're calling a compact, which is an agreement, a deal, and they picked out 9 universities in the country as a start, as sort of a pilot. And they said, listen, and so this is what this New York Times stories, how they described it. The White House on Wednesday, this is 2 weeks ago now, sent letters to 9 of the nation's top public and private universities urging campus leaders to pledge support for President Trump's political agenda to help ensure access to federal research funds. So MIT was one of those 9, and so we finally got this morning their response, which was no, we're not going to sign your deal even if we get more federal money for it. So how are we Lily's shaking her head already.
We've had so many conversations of the same caliber.
Yeah, so this is the Trump administration saying, hey, universities, come on board with my agenda, which is, of course, far-right conservative. And if you do, we'll put you first in line for federal money. How do our students feel about this?
I think that is disgraceful, honestly. I think to reach out to the top schools and offer them more federal funding if they back you.
And it's also a threat.
It is.
If you say no, we will withhold.
Because the implication
Well,
that
that's what they have
put
done.
first
Yeah.
is it implies that if you don't, you will be put last.
Yeah.
I'm glad they said no. I'm glad the
Me too.
university said no.
Well, it's
Because there are rich people in this country who want to help fund something else. Like, they do get lots of supporters. NPR is still going. And it's not on more privatized funding. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
like,
I get
there
you.
are people who will,
I get you.
like Wikipedia. Like, we all fund Wikipedia. Like, Wikipedia is all of us. It's that same. We can do it without. Like, we can do it. We can do it. We can figure it
Yeah,
out.
you can do it. Okay.
We have to say
So here's what MIT said, and I will say I found this super refreshing, because even Harvard is reportedly negotiating. So, Harvard was basically threatened. Well, actually, they weren't threatened. The Trump administration withheld a variety of student visas. They pulled over $1 billion in federal grants, and Harvard sued. But now there's reports that Harvard is negotiating to try to get some of that money back and all this other kind of stuff. But here's what MIT said. In essence, MIT said the so-called compact was against its core values of free expression and competitiveness that brought out America's most innovative instincts. So in other words, the compact is doing, in MIT's viewpoint, the opposite of what it says it wants to do, which is, we need diversity of opinion on our college campuses. That's what the whole compact, that's how they frame it.
I think that's perfectly well spoken. I don't think there's anything else that could be said except for maybe they could say something about. I think it's just insane that they would negotiate with them. A school would negotiate with that and would concede to their greed. It's just
So if they approach now, I'm somewhat certain they will not approach USM. But let's say they did. What if that became a thing in higher ed? How would you feel about USM signing on to the compact?
they would negotiate with them.
They would definitely
They
sign
would
it, but I would be grossed out.
I would
Signed as soon as it got to the table.
it would be signed.
So you're thinking USM would just go great?
Yup.
Yep.
Wow.
If I had to guess
Potentially.
from how
Potentially.
the administration treats other issues of similar calibers, I would say.
So talk to me about that a little bit. I'm kind of curious. So our students are feeling what about USM's position in this whole moment we're in?
More than the political aspect, I feel like the administration at USM doesn't value their students very highly. Just parking, the food quality, dorm quality, at times class quality. There's just not an insurance of quality for the students ever. It feels like we are not the priority. That families coming to tailgate are the priority, or and things like that. That they want a pretty facade for people to come watch a football game.
And when
But
we
that-
complain, not much is being done.
Yeah, but for the actual students, the things that are necessary for our quality of education are just not there.
Even our quality of life are not
Yeah.
usually met. The fresh is being updated right now, the school cafeteria, and there's talks about things being removed, us having to pay for the takeaway boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
What?
Wait, paying
Yeah.
for it? They don't
I've
let us
heard
swipe
that.
anymore. As of yesterday or 2 days
You have
ago,
to show your ID.
you have to give the workers your ID and they'll swipe it for you because they don't trust us to.
Well,
They
I'm
said
sure
people were scamming swipes, but that's a few people.
I don't know. How do you scam a swipe?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I have
They
no idea.
literally, when you swipe it, the button either beeps or it doesn't if it doesn't go through, and they just tell you, "Oh, do it again if it doesn't beep."
Oh, you
I'm
mean
not-
like using an ID that maybe
Yes.
you don't have a meal plan?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
just-
so
the
the
overall vibe of the cafeteria.
that's where I'm headed. So
Yeah.
the overall vibe is students are second, third, fourth.
Yes.
Yes. They won't
That
even
is
let us-
really, I tell you, this is the first year I've heard this. The first actually time from a group of students that I've heard this. I'm really fascinated about how that has come about. So you're saying, so it's accumulation of issues, parking, which nobody's never been happy with parking.
No, parking's
Yeah.
bad. I
But
understand that we have to keep our students from killing themselves, but we need that 5th floor of the parking garage really badly.
I got you.
That's completely roped off because
Because we've had at least 2
incident.
episodes in the
Yeah.
last 4 years, right? And a very sad.
and that's
episode.
terrible.
Yeah.
But
But the
more should be
solution
done-
isn't. But the solution isn't necessarily blocking off those 100 parking spaces that are needed.
Yeah.
There's got to be other solutions. You're saying.
Right.
And more mental health solutions, taking care of us, just more, just a little more.
Okay.
rather
Yeah.
than just
Roping off the
5th
parking
floor.
garage, that's not helpful.
And
Because
that's-
if someone is so miserable that they would end their life in such a way, then they're gonna end their life in a different
And
way.
there's still
Yeah.
ways to get up there.
Oh yeah, and even do other things. Like I saw a student the other day sitting on top of the railing for the THAD, that area, those tall staircase. Someone at night was just sitting up there, and I was like, I don't think you should be up there.
Okay.
One wrong move and you've fallen.
Okay. Well, we're going to pick up. We're going to pick up after the break with this idea of the campus atmosphere. I'm just intrigued. So we'll be right back.
Hey America, we need to have a little talk. We've got a lot of food in this country, so how are 17 million kids in America struggling with hunger? That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids who need it. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in Mississippi, contact Mississippi Food Network or visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
To the big-hearted, the bold, the teachers, the growers, the builders, the change makers, we need you. We are the Peace Corps. In more than 60 countries, we go the distance to make a difference. We're volunteers, partners, communities, bringing our experience, joy, and passion to building a better world together. Are you looking for more? then we are looking for you. Join us at peacecorps.gov.
Okay, well, so we have we have touched a nerve here today, which is, I love that. That's why we do a show, right, is to touch nerves. So two things came up. One is this idea is that USM appears to still, after 5 years now, where the protest out on Hardy Street, you guys actually weren't here at the time, but there was a protest out on Hardy Street, about 60 students waving signs about the sexual assault policy at USM, which is not zero tolerance, right? So the idea is that here at USM, you can go through, you can be accused of sexual assault, go through the entire process, be found to have committed assault, and your punishment might be a year suspension from the university or 2 year suspension from the university, but then you come back. And so the result is you could be sitting in class next to the person who was found to have assaulted you. So the students have been asking for a number of years now for what they call a zero tolerance policy, whereas if you go through the process and the process found that you have indeed assaulted someone, then you are removed from the university. So is that still a thing? Because that came up over the break. What are we thinking?
I mean, I think it's valid. I feel like someone like that being on campus, especially if you wouldn't know, like every student isn't aware, and that's a threat on campus if someone like that is just in a classroom or even in a campus environment in general.
Yeah, and I think that's the argument, right? Is that if someone has been found after going through the process, has been found to have indeed assaulted someone, then there's an ongoing threat if that remains on campus.
Mm-hmm. Especially if the person that they've inflicted assault upon still is on campus. It's just, I think for the sake of that person who's had to go through that and is still grappling with something like that, it's not fair to them to have to be subjected to that against their will.
Yeah. So this is within the context of the administration not responding to students. And the other the other thing was now I was not aware of this, but they have roped off student parking
Every football game.
every home football game.
Yes.
And that is really irritating to students.
And it's because they have like a tier system type of thing. The tailgaters, the people who come from out of town to come to the games, buy this special, more expensive pass, and they get entry into these student parking lots for game days.
Yeah.
So they have sold our student parking that we pay for, $200 a semester.
Okay, do we know that, or we just think that?
That's true.
Do we just think what?
That they resell it to these
Oh
folks.
no, they have a sign.
They have a,
Yeah, they have
there's a
that's
sign.
like Golden
Okay.
Eagle Perks or something
Okay,
like that.
gotcha.
We'll look up the name, but they have a sign up being like for Golden Eagle Perks members.
And I can
only.
imagine that if you're in the dorms and that's your normal parking, but all of a sudden you have to go somewhere and find
And
a
they
place
tow
for your
you.
car,
If you're
Don't
still in the
move.
parking lot by Friday,
and they tow
they
you.
tow you by Friday at noon.
So I can understand how students. Okay, so is this the kind of thing, I'm looking at our poor SGA rep here, is this the kind of thing that our SGA would take up to the administration?
I know we do parking appeals, so potentially.
Potentially? Okay, there you go. Talk to your SGA rep, I think. That's a legit part of the process, right?
Yes,
Do it.
let's talk.
Yeah, I think everybody should. I think a lot
Fine,
of people
track
on
down your
campus
SGA
feel
rep.
really different.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's part of the democracy, right? Is that there's an issue going on. There is, I believe, as usual, we're running a little bit long. So, what a great show! Again, it goes so quickly, and I appreciate all of your thoughts and your presence here today, guys. It's never easy in the climate that we're in to give your opinions, to speak for your colleagues. But there's no higher value than that. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. This has been a production of Southern Miss Student Media. Our producers are Annabelle Laird and Lily Burkhardt. Thank you, guys. Our video producer is Isabella Michaud, and our engineer is Liam Keenan. And we will not be back next week, which is fall break, but we will be back the following week.
Oh yeah, wait.
Yay.
I have to fix some.
This has been News You Need with Dr. Ed Simpson. News You Need airs Friday afternoon at 12:30 on Southern Miss Radio.